Hi friends, Marley here and welcome back to my channel. Today is the first day of spring. I have been working on preparing my garden for this year's growing season, and today I'm going to show you an update of our garden preparation for 2025. Let's go. We're going to start in this corner of my garden where you can see here in the ground, and this are Shasta Daisy. This Shasta Daisy was planted a few years ago and it's still going strong. It keeps coming back. Now right here, here we have our strawberries. I removed most of my strawberries from this area, but I left this one big bed of strawberries because we're going to replant these strawberries in a different part of my garden. Then you can see in here we have some growth. These are tulips. We have more tulips here and also daffodils. So combination of tulips and daffodils. Now I'm gonna turn around and show you what I have growing here in the new earth beds that I created. So in this earth beds, you can see that there's a swale in the middle, and it's because we have been getting too much rain. So there's too much water in the garden. So I had to redo the plan for this area of my garden, and instead of having 4x8 raised beds, I changed this into earth beds and I created 6 2x8 earth beds, and I planted them with garlic. And look at all of this garlic, guys, and I'm so excited for this because last year, although we got a good garlic harvest from the early part of the season, we had an issue with the weeds because as soon as the weeds started growing, we were also very busy with the other parts of my garden, and I had to deal with the garden expansion. So a lot of the garlic went bad because they were overrun by the weeds. But this year, I am positive that we will have a very good garlic harvest. Look at all of this garlic, guys. Aren't they pretty? And because I am using a garden fabric, I don't have to deal so much with weeds. Now you can see in here that there are some weeds growing on the side of the swale, but that's okay because I'm going to fill this area and cover it with a fabric or some type of mulching, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore. These are some of the garlic that I planted, I think 2 or 3 weeks after I planted the first batch. So just for a comparison of the difference in their sizes, so these 3 beds were planted first, and then after 2 to 3 weeks, these were the ones that I planted. And as you can see, some of them are growing, the others have not grown yet. So I might wait for a couple of weeks to see if I needed to replant some of these areas, because some of them might just be maybe planted too deep, because planting garlic in fabric like this is very new to me. So I still had to adjust on like how to do it. But yeah, this is our garlic progress right now. I'm so happy with the growth of this garlic. We have around 300 garlic plants in that we planted, and so far we are having a good percentage of them growing already. Look at these beautiful daffodils, guys. We have daffodils and also a few tulips growing in this area. We just dumped some grass on here. There are some strawberries underneath this grass, but I am going to change this into a different kind of bed and plant something else, not strawberries, maybe potatoes for this year. So in this part of my garden, I have a couple of raised beds. These are 4x8 wooden raised beds. See that? that's also covered with a garden fabric, the same type of fabric that I use throughout my garden. And these two beds were planted mostly with onions. Now this one in here was planted with the yellow sweet onions, and the second bed right there was planted with the red onions. I'll show you some of them that have started growing already. We have one in here. Here, there's one right there. And the ones that are growing already and are sticking out of the hole in the fabric, these are the ones which have started growing already before I even planted them. They already had the greens in them. So we have one here. There's one right here. But most of them are not sprouting out of the dirt yet, or out of the soil, I mean. But yeah, we have some that have started growing. So this is really good as well. I really like what I'm seeing right now with what is going on in this area of my garden. Okay, let's just take a quick look from this side. So these are the two onion beds, and then the garlic beds are over there. My apologies for a very messy garden, but there's just so many things I have to do. Now here, I'm gonna show you what's going on in here. This is the round raised bed where I usually plant the herbs. Right here, you can see these greens. Most of these are cilantro. And then a couple of nights ago, I transplanted some garlic. These are elephant garlic. And these were the garlic that I harvested at one time, sometime in late summer or early fall. Unfortunately, I got so busy with all of the harvesting and all of the selling, and I forgot the garlic in the garden. So they were rained on, and so I ended up just leaving them outside. I put the box right there in the middle of this new area. And then throughout the winter, they were in there. I was gonna throw them in the compost, but I never had a chance to do it. And then I realized one day over the winter that they have started growing in the box. They were not planted in anything. They were inside a cardboard box and they started growing. So I was like, okay. So a couple of nights ago, I decided to just move them in here. We pulled the weeds that were growing in here, dead plants. And then we used some of them as mulching here. That's why you see those brown leaves. I left the cilantro. This is really good. I love all of this cilantro. Here also. This one is sage. Look at that. So we already have some herbs growing in here. And of course, these ones in here are oregano. Look at all of this oregano, guys. They have started growing. Look at that. And these oregano plants were planted in here probably about 4 or 5 years ago with just a single plant, and now it has grown so much, a lot of them. And then over here we have this little planter that's made of an old suitcase. I planted thyme in here, sage and oregano. I had to move the sage somewhere else because the oregano was choking the sage, and now I realized that the oregano is also choking the thyme. So we have little bitty thyme in here, which I need to transplant somewhere else. Now this bed is where I grow my asparagus. I have harvested the asparagus 3 times already. That was starting a few weeks ago. So every time I see a sprout or a growth here, I get it. So we have one right here, and this one is big enough, so I'm just going to snap this. Oh, okay, this is good for snacking. A couple of nights ago, I also planted this oregano for the chickens if they want to eat it. If not, I'll just grow them in here instead of like having a lot of weeds or grass growing around the chicken run. Now we are at the side of my house, and look at this monstrosity in here, guys. This is a hydrangea plant that has started sprouting already, and it's so huge. Look at that. Over here we have our hanging baskets. These are petunias that I got as plugs and planted into some hanging baskets. So far they are looking good. Since my greenhouse was destroyed by the storm, tonight we're going to move these plants into my basement because we will get another freezing temperature. So it's gonna be 32 or 31 degrees Fahrenheit tonight, and the petunias won't like that. This is the greenhouse that I have been working on. This was the greenhouse from last year, the other year. So it's an older greenhouse and it got ripped when it stormed. The structure is really good, so I just need to put a new plastic, and also I decided to put some pallets around it. On this side, I kind of buried parts of the pallet, just one side of it, as you can see, and this one turned out to be good. That's the inside. I have removed the cover because that was a cheap greenhouse plastic that I got from a big box store, and it didn't last long. It got ripped too. Here is the other side, but this is standing on top of a weed fabric because the fabric has been installed before I decided to put pallets on the sides of the greenhouse. So I decided to put the totes in here. I grew different vegetables in these totes, so now the totes are gonna be lining this side of the greenhouse. And today I decided to plant some pak choy cabbage. So I'm just going to spread them in this planter and then water it, and that's it. That's all I have to do with this pak choy cabbage seeds. Oh, I almost forgot, guys. Look at this. We have our blueberries growing. And now we are in my grow room, and we see here our setup. We have a few plants that we've started. So in this tray, we have some green and red romaine lettuce. This has hot peppers. And then right here, we have cabbage, Swiss chard, and broccoli. These are lemon balm, and then the second batch of lettuce seedlings, and then right here, and looks like this needs to be watered. This is ginger that we're trying to sprout for this year. And then we have a lot of lemongrass, more petunia plugs, and they have a bunch of flowers already. And down here we have some wandering Jew, and then, excuse the mess, we have another tray right here on the table. I put this in here to bottom water it. I'm just gonna show you how I set this up. Here I put water in a 1020 tray, and then I just put another tray with an open bottom and the cells. This is a 72 cell where I started some tomatoes. I started some old red juice tomato seeds. Unfortunately, they were not that good, and I got 4 plants out of 50 seeds. And then these ones in here are brandywine Cherokee, we have Sweet 100, um, and I think Carolina Gold tomatoes. So this is our first batch of tomatoes. And then let's go back to the shelf. And right here, we have another tray of tomatoes. They have not sprouted yet. These were seeded a couple of nights ago, so they've been in here for 48 hours. And then up here, I'm just gonna show you the other setup up on top. This tray has the second batch of peppers. These are also hot peppers. So half of this, 50 seeds of serrano and 50 seeds of Mesilla peppers. And you see here, I'll show you what's underneath it. This is a heat mat because peppers need to be germinated in a slightly higher temperature. I think about like 70 degrees Fahrenheit for the germination of the pepper seeds. Especially the hot peppers, they need a warmer environment to germinate. So that's what we have in here, just a bunch of corn. Look at that. It's from last year, and those were bitten by the squirrels. And then I also want to show you some of the garlic that we have from last year. So this is all we have in this grow room right now. I try to start 1 or 2 trays of seeds every night. We have a lot more seeds that we need to start. Our last frost date is mid-April. So about April 15 to 20th, something like that. So we have plenty of time to start these seeds. I don't have much room in here, so I don't want the seedlings to grow very big inside my grow station, because then I'm gonna run out of grow lights for all of them. But hopefully the greenhouse will be set up for all of these plants to be transferred into, so that we can start some more seedlings in our grow station indoor. That's gonna be all for today. Thank you for watching, and happy gardening.